Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a race you didn't even sign up for? Do you catch yourself comparing your progress to others, wondering if you're behind or if you should be doing more? What if I told you that true freedom begins when you stop competing with everyone else and start focusing on yourself? If you're ready to live with peace, confidence, and joy, you're in the right place. And before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about helping you grow stronger, calmer, and unstoppable in life.
1. Letting go of the need to prove anything. Most of us grow up being told, sometimes directly, sometimes subtly, that we must prove ourselves. We are urged to get good grades, to land a prestigious job, to earn recognition, to stand out in a crowded room. Then, as we move into adulthood, the pressure takes on new shapes. Now, it's about proving that we are successful, proving that we are attractive, proving that we are relevant. Social media amplifies this by making everyone's life seem like a scoreboard. Someone else's vacation becomes a silent challenge to ours. Someone's promotion feels like a reminder of where we fall short. In this way, the need to prove ourselves doesn't just stay in one corner of life, it seeps into everything. And the tragedy is that while chasing these endless validations, we lose the thread of who we actually are. The truth is, the constant need to prove your worth is nothing but a trap. It creates a cycle of hunger that is never satisfied. You win one battle, one applause, one recognition, and for a fleeting moment it feels like enough. But almost immediately the mind asks, what next? You have to prove again and again and again. In this way, life becomes a performance instead of a lived experience. Real strength, however, is silent. It does not beg for applause. A lion doesn't roar to prove it is strong, it simply is strong. When you anchor yourself in who you are, without the ornament of validation, you step into an entirely different mode of existence. You no longer spend your energy convincing others, you conserve that energy for living. The day you stop chasing approval is the day you start living authentically. Authenticity is not loud. It doesn't need an audience. It is the quiet courage of doing what feels true, even if no one claps. It is walking your own path without needing to broadcast every step. It is being content with being unseen, because your value is not diminished when unnoticed. This shift is liberating, because when you live without the burden of proving, you are free to experiment, free to fail, free to succeed, and free to simply be. Life, after all, is not about proving anything, it's about experiencing everything. To let go of the need to prove is not to become less ambitious, but to root your ambition in truth instead of applause.
2. Staying focused on what fulfills you. There is a quiet danger in modern life, mistaking what is impressive for what is fulfilling. From an early age, we are taught to look outward, to see what others admire, to aim for the trophies that earn applause. But not every path is meant for you, and not every success story should be yours. The question that matters is deceptively simple. What makes you feel alive? For some, fulfillment comes in creating. For others, in teaching, in healing, in building, in nurturing. But if you are always measuring your life against someone else's yardstick, you may never discover what uniquely stirs your own spirit. When you focus on what fulfills you, you shift your attention from the external scoreboard to the internal compass. You begin to value experiences that others may not even notice, but which leave you deeply satisfied. Perhaps it is the joy of working with your hands, or the quiet pride of raising a family, or the thrill of solving a complex problem that no one else even sees. These things might not come with medals, but they fill your days with meaning. And meaning is always greater than applause. Applause fades, but fulfillment sustains. Fulfillment is not loud or flashy. It is the quiet satisfaction that comes from alignment with your values. It is the feeling that you are using your time in a way that matters to you, not just to the world's gaze. To pursue fulfillment, you must be willing to disappoint expectations, to walk away from what looks impressive but feels empty, and to accept that others may not understand your choices. But this is the cost of authenticity, and the reward is profound. You no longer live a borrowed dream, you live your own. And that is the only kind of success that can carry you through the years without regret.
3. Choosing peace over conflict. Competition is deeply ingrained in us. From childhood, we are taught to measure ourselves against others, to win grades, to win games, to win approval. And as we grow, that competitive instinct often hardens into conflict. We compete not only for opportunities, but for recognition, for dominance, even for being right. But the truth is that competing often leads to conflict, both with others and within yourself. You begin to see life as a battlefield instead of a journey. Every conversation becomes a chance to win or lose. Every disagreement becomes a duel. And yet, what do you really win when you defeat someone in argument or comparison? The victory is temporary, but the strain it leaves on your heart and mind lingers much longer. Peace, however, is the real prize. Peace does not mean you abandon your goals, nor does it mean that you lack ambition. Rather, it means you no longer allow the pursuit of superiority to disrupt your inner calm. When you choose peace over proving yourself right, you save yourself from wasted energy. When you choose peace over winning an argument, you preserve relationships that matter more than the ego's need to be victorious. When you choose peace over chasing superiority, you gain clarity, freedom, and an inner calm that no competition can ever grant. True power lies not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. In the end, choosing peace is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is recognizing that most conflicts are not worth the fire they light inside you. It is realizing that the greatest victory is to live unshaken by petty struggles, to walk through life with composure while others waste themselves in quarrels. Peace frees you. It allows you to hear more clearly, think more deeply, and live more fully. It is the ground on which true joy can grow. And once you have tasted it, you will see that it is worth far more than any temporary triumph.
4. Protecting your joy daily. Joy isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you protect. Every day there are distractions, negativity, and comparisons waiting to steal your energy. But when you learn to guard your joy through boundaries, gratitude, and perspective, you become untouchable. Protecting your joy means refusing to hand over your happiness to people or circumstances you can't control. To live with joy is to live with strength, because joy is not a fragile mood, but a cultivated state of being, one that requires daily maintenance, like tending a flame against the wind. Think about how easily joy can slip away if we are careless with it. A single comment on social media, an unexpected criticism from a coworker, or even a minor inconvenience can become enough to sour an entire day. Why? Because we often allow external forces to dictate internal peace. But when you recognize that joy is something you own, something that doesn't have to rise and fall with the mood of the world, you begin to reclaim control. Protecting joy means practicing emotional self-discipline, refusing to let every passing storm drench you. You cannot stop the rain, but you can choose to carry an umbrella. One of the strongest ways to protect joy is through boundaries. Boundaries are invisible fences you build to shield your mental and emotional space. They are not acts of selfishness, but of self-preservation. If someone's constant negativity drains you, you limit your exposure. If endless scrolling through feeds leaves you feeling inadequate, You cut down your screen time. Boundaries remind you that you are not required to absorb the world's chaos. You are not obligated to invite every voice into your mind. Protecting joy means choosing what you allow in and what you shut out. Gratitude is another unshakable guardrail for joy. Each day offers endless opportunities for dissatisfaction, but it also offers countless reasons to be thankful. By directing your attention toward what is present rather than what is missing, gratitude transforms ordinary days into sacred ground. It is almost impossible to be both deeply grateful and deeply discontent at the same time. Gratitude lifts your perspective from what you lack to what you already have, and in doing so, it creates a buffer against envy, complaint, and dissatisfaction. Gratitude doesn't erase hardships, it reframes them, softens their sting, and highlights the quiet blessings that hardship often overshadows. Perspective itself is a shield. Life will not stop presenting challenges, frustrations, or losses, but how you interpret these events shapes your inner state. Protecting joy means asking yourself in difficult moments, will this matter a year from now? Is this worth surrendering my peace over? Perspective grants distance, and distance grants freedom. Sometimes protecting joy is as simple as refusing to magnify problems beyond their true size. You can choose to let go instead of holding on. You can choose peace instead of agitation. Ultimately, protecting joy is not about escaping life's troubles. It's about cultivating resilience in the face of them. It is about learning to walk through difficulty without letting it define your spirit. Each day you are offered countless opportunities to either surrender your joy or secure it. Protecting joy daily is the act of showing up for yourself, deciding that your inner state matters more than fleeting circumstances. Protected joy becomes joy multiplied, and over time, it turns into the quiet, steady light that guides you no matter how dark the path becomes.
5. Living a life beyond comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy, yet it's the habit most people can't break. The truth is, your life isn't meant to look like anyone else's. It's meant to be your own masterpiece. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others, you discover that you've already been winning the only game that matters, becoming the best version of yourself. Comparison blinds you to your own progress by convincing you that someone else's path should be your standard. But the reality is, no two people share the same starting point, the same challenges, or the same destiny. To compare your journey to another's is to miss the uniqueness of your own unfolding story. When you live in comparison, you rob yourself of peace. You could be making genuine progress, but the moment you see someone else advancing faster, you feel behind. You could be celebrating your victories, but the instant you see someone else shine brighter, your joy dims. This cycle is endless because there will always be someone who has more, who seems further along, who appears to have what you think you lack. Living beyond comparison means stepping off this treadmill entirely. It means reclaiming your right to define success on your own terms. Comparison often disguises itself as motivation, but it rarely leads to lasting fulfillment. When you chase achievement simply to catch up or keep up, you are building a life that does not belong to you. It is a hollow race with no finish line. Instead of asking, "How do I measure against them?" a better question is, "Am I closer today to the person I aspire to become?" This reframing shifts the competition from outward to inward. Your only true rival is the version of yourself from yesterday, not the stranger on your screen today. Living beyond comparison requires a deliberate shift in focus, from external benchmarks to internal growth. External benchmarks, wealth, fame, status, are unstable because they depend on conditions outside of your control. Internal growth, character, discipline, wisdom, remains entirely yours. It cannot be taken,
copied or devalued by someone else's success. When you define yourself by qualities that can't be stolen, you free yourself from the endless need to prove, compete, or compare. Another key to breaking free is recognizing that what you see of others is incomplete. Social media highlights reels but hides the full picture. Someone's success may be real, but so are their struggles, insecurities, and failures, most of which you'll never see. Comparison thrives on illusion, but perspective dismantles it. The person you envy for their wealth might envy you for your peace. The person you admire for their boldness might long for your stability. Everyone is carrying unseen battles, which means no one's life is as perfect as it appears. Ultimately, living beyond comparison is about freedom. It is about stepping out of a prison built of other people's expectations and stepping into the wide-open space of your own path. You are not here to replicate another's life, but to live your own fully. When you stop comparing, you start celebrating. Not only your progress, but also the victories of others, because their success no longer threatens you. Your journey becomes lighter, your joy becomes fuller, and your life becomes richer. Living beyond comparison isn't about ignoring others, it's about honoring yourself, and in doing so, finally finding joy in simply being who you were always meant to be.
So here's the question. Are you ready to live unbothered, free, and focused on what really matters? When you stop competing with others, you unlock peace, joy, and purpose that no one can take away. If this message spoke to you, make sure you subscribe, because we're just getting started on this journey of self-mastery. Remember, the goal isn't to outshine others, it's to shine as yourself.